Hey guys, so today we filmed a vegan kale Caesar salad with crispy chickpeas and quick pickled shallots. It's honestly my favorite dressing that I've developed and my favorite salad that I've developed as well. So if you're interested, keep watching. Okay, so the first part of this recipe, we wanna make sure we get the chickpeas right into the oven to start roasting. So you're gonna start with your 1 can of chickpeas. We're just gonna pop that open right here. And then we're gonna make sure we drain these really well. The liquid that's in chickpeas can actually be used as a vegan version of egg whites. So if you're vegan, be sure to save this liquid because you can use it as egg whites in like a recipe later on. But for right now, we're just gonna go ahead and drain these. We're gonna give them a good rinse as well. I always like to rinse things that I'm draining. Give them a good shake too. And then we're gonna get them right into this bowl lined with paper towels so we can get them nice and dry. A lot of people like to actually peel their chickpeas before they roast them. I think that's a little bit excessive and I kind of just give them a really good rinse right here. It's okay if some of the skins fall off because those actually get really crispy in the oven and I kind of really like those parts. So give these a good little dry right here, kind of roll them around in the bowl. Make sure you get them nice and dry. A few of them will fall out, just pop those back in the bowl. Okay, perfect. And we have a 1/4 cup of oil right here. I use avocado oil. Any vegetable oil is fine. Avocado or olive oil is kind of preferred. So that will go right in the bowl. We have a teaspoon of salt, just right in there. A 1/2 teaspoon to a teaspoon of freshly cracked black pepper. And then a teaspoon of cayenne. I really like cayenne with baking. It pairs really well with chickpeas and it gives it that nice smoky flavor that you're really gonna want in this salad that you really don't get from anything else. So just pour that all over there. And then I just like to get in with my hands. A clean pair of hands is a cook's best tool. So let's just get in there, move those around, get them all nice and coated with all of the spices, all of that oil as well. And then because there's a 1/4 cup of oil in these chickpeas, we really don't need to prepare the pan at all. We're just gonna pour these right on here. Pop that back in the sink. And make sure you spread these out nice and evenly. When things aren't spread out evenly on a pan, sometimes steam creates and you get more of a steaming than a roast. So we wanna make sure there's a nice even layer and everything is nice and spread out. Perfect. Right before you prepare the chickpeas, you're gonna want to heat your oven to 425. Give your hands a good little quick rinse. And then we're gonna pop these in the oven at 425 for 25 to 30 minutes. Keep an eye on them. They're gonna get super crispy and really, really delicious. Okay, so the chickpeas are in the oven. They're roasting. We are going to get started on the pickled shallots now. It's a quick pickle. They don't have to sit overnight or anything. It's just a really quick pickle and it's gonna add some acidity to the salad, which is gonna be really great. So I have already measured up a cup of apple cider vinegar. You're gonna just wanna pour that right into your saucepan. And then I have a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper right in here. We're gonna pour that in there. And then I have about a 1/4 cup of honey. And I just wanna make sure that I'll be able to get that out. So this goes right into here as well. So with a quick pickle, you're always gonna have some type of vinegar, some type of sweetness, and then your seasonings. A lot of the times you'll see like caraway seed or coriander or anything in here. I just made it super simple with salt and pepper and then honey and apple cider vinegar because a lot of people already have those ingredients around. So we're gonna take this to the stove so you can just follow me. Keep your eye on it. You're gonna wanna make sure that the honey fully incorporates into the vinegar. So we are just gonna stay here, mix it up a little bit for about 30 seconds. And right when we see that the honey is kind of fully dissolved, we'll be able to just get onto cutting our shallots and then we'll combine these all together. So it looks like the honey's basically dissolved. I have my burner on medium high, and we'll just kind of let this bubble up, let it come to a boil, and then we'll pour it over the shallots. Shallots are basically just like a smaller, milder red onion. I love them in salads because sometimes a raw red onion can be super hard on your palate and it can be the only thing that you taste in the salad. Shallots are really mild and they're really delicate, and that's why I love them in this salad. So to cut a shallot, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our really sharp knife, we're gonna cut one end off, and then you're gonna hold the shallot up, or you can keep it on your cutting board, but I like to just hold it up, and we make just a small little incision in the first layer of the shallot. That allows us to really easily peel this off, and it takes away kind of that fibrous coating of the first layer of the shallot. And we like to keep this hairy end on because that allows this shallot to stay together so that when we are slicing, everything kind of just stays compact and it doesn't go all over the cutting board. Okay, so the shallot's all peeled. What we're gonna wanna do is just make little rings. So we're just gonna make incisions all throughout the entire shallot, throughout the back of it, and you're gonna wanna make them as thin as possible because this is a quick pickle. We're not gonna let anything sit over more than 30 minutes. So just try to make those cuts as quick as possible. Make them nice and thin. Go slow. I can hear my pickling liquid start to boil up behind me. So we have perfect timing. And then once you get to the end of the shallot, you can always just throw this away. It's better to throw something away than to cut yourself accidentally. Okay, so we have these nice little rings right here. I'm gonna grab the pickling liquid because I can hear it nice and bubbly. It's steaming right now. I'm gonna take it right off the heat, turn my burner off. Just gonna set this right on my cutting board, and then we're gonna drop all the shallots into there. Perfect. I'm gonna grab my stir, give this a nice stir right here. And then you can pour this into a separate bowl and let it sit. Why waste bowls is kind of my opinion. I'm just gonna let it sit right in the saucepan. It's all nice and warm right now. We're gonna let it sit for at least 30 minutes to an hour is fine. Okay, so chickpeas are in the oven, shallots are doing their thing with their quick pickle. Now it's time to make the vegan dressing. A lot of vegan kale dressings, Caesar dressings, involve soaking cashews overnight, and that just seemed like way too much work for me, and it's just super dramatic. So I came up with an alternative to that. And the alternative is this delicious thing called tahini. Tahini is what's in hummus. It's what makes hummus super creamy along with the chickpeas. So this is a half a cup of tahini. We're gonna pour this right into my apartment-sized food processor. So that goes all right in there. It's a half a cup. And then to that, we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. I don't like too much Dijon, but it adds a really nice kind of tang to the dressing that you really need. This was just about a squeeze of honey. You know, if I had to measure it out, maybe 2 teaspoons, something like that. If you like your salad dressings to be a little bit sweeter, you can always add more. But always start with less. And then this is nutritional yeast. So this is a great vegan alternative to like Parmesan cheese. It adds so much flavor to anything. And if you do find vegan kale Caesars on restaurant menus, a lot of them will have this nutritional yeast. I love it. I think it tastes fabulous on everything. And it just has that super, almost umami flavor, and it's super tangy, and I love it. So it's a 1/4 cup right into the food processor. Sure you get all of that in there. And half a teaspoon of both salt and pepper right here. And then we're gonna use about 3/4 of a lemon. So it's a half and then a half of a lemon. And we'll just squeeze that right in. You can use your hand to kind of cover if there are any seeds that are gonna fall, and then the juice can just fall right through your fingers. I remember when my mom and I used to watch Giada De Laurentiis on the Food Network. Giada would always squeeze her lemons like this, and my mom always thought it was so gross that she would like hold her hands over and like catch the seeds and stuff, but I loved it, and I still do it myself. So everything is into that food processor. Just gonna give my hands a quick wash. And the one final thing that we're gonna add is 1 clove of garlic. No need to chop this up or anything because it's going right into the food processor, and the food processor is gonna do all of that work. So you just pop your lid on and give it a whirl. Let it go for 15 to 20 seconds or so. Take the lid off, give it a good scrape down on the sides. This looks like it's gonna need a little bit more liquid. So I'm actually just gonna add, oops, and all my salt and pepper actually didn't go in there. I'm gonna add just a little bit of water. Nothing gets in the bowl. That's the best thing about recipes is you can test them. If they're not working out the first time, you just add a little bit of this, add a little bit of that. Nothing has to be perfect. Perfect, 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 perfect. Except for this. All right, so that has a really nice consistency, really nice and creamy, and I can't wait to add it to the salad. So it's been about 25 minutes. I'm gonna pull these chickpeas out. You can see they get really small in size, and then they get super, super crispy. So good, so smoky, so spicy. And they're the perfect crunch when they're actually a great gluten-free topping, because if you don't want croutons, if you're gluten-free, just add these, they add that crunch and everything that you need. The chickpeas are out of the oven, the dressing is made, and the shallots are all pickled. So now it's time to get on to the lettuce part of our salad. So what I have here is a mixture of iceberg lettuce and lacinato kale, also known as dinosaur kale. I really like this kale because it's really tender, it's really mild, and it's called dinosaur kale because it kind of looks like it has dinosaur skin on it. And so we just have to take a little bit of extra attention to the kale before we get to the iceberg. So kale has these strong stems that run throughout the entire leaf. They're a little fibrous and they're not great to chew on when you're eating a salad. So all you have to do is kind of get the leaves started, and then you just pull your leaves off and the stem comes right out. That's a nice little trick. So we're gonna just de-stem all of these kale leaves. Kale's gotten super popular in the most recent years. I love it when it's mixed with other greens. A lot of people don't like iceberg lettuce in salads, but it's so mild and it brings such a nice bright flavor to a salad that I think it's a great combination with kale. It's always nice to mix like a darker leaf with a lighter leaf as well. So you're just gonna wanna make sure that you get all of these stems off. I just have a few more to go. Perfect. And then we're gonna kind of roll them up in a chiffonade. You typically do chiffonades with leaves like basil or things that have like a long leaf in them. So you're just gonna wanna layer them all up, and then we're gonna roll them kind of like a cigar. We're gonna roll them right here, and then we're just gonna cut along this chiffonade that we have in nice, so that we have nice little bite-sized pieces. It's the worst when you're like on a date and you order a salad and you just have this giant leaf of kale in your mouth while you're trying to talk. So we're gonna get this nice and chopped up. When you get to the end, maybe you stop a little bit short. Once again, we don't want to cut any fingers. And then I always just run my knife right down the middle. Okay, so kale can be a little fussy. It wants to be massaged, actually. So we put all the kale in our bowl right here, and we squeeze about half a lemon on, maybe a quarter of a lemon on right here. And then we just get in right with our clean hands and we start to massage the kale. what this is gonna do is even tenderize it even further. So when it is on your palate, it's nice and smooth. You get that full kale flavor, but it's not like you're crunching down on a really intense leaf. So go ahead, squeeze your lemon in here and just massage it for about two to 5 minutes. I think 2 minutes is fine. So we're just gonna go ahead and keep massaging right here. The kale is gonna wilt just a little bit because we did add a little bit of liquid to it. Just keep moving right here. And this is a portion size that would be great for just like a salad as a meal. Okay, so the kale is all massaged. It's right in this bowl. Let's get right to the iceberg lettuce. This is half a head of iceberg, and I like to cut it again right down the center. Put that right to the side. Find a flat piece of your iceberg, and then just go ahead and give it nice, thin strips, just like how we did with the shallot earlier today. Perfect. And then you're just gonna wanna grab all your lettuce, rotate it 90 degrees, and then give it another little run through. Once again, this is just gonna result in really small pieces in your salad so that you can get a chickpea in one bite, some salad in one bite, some shallots as well. And honestly, that seems like enough lettuce for me. I'm not even gonna hit the other quarter of this half of the lettuce. So let's just mix this all together, and then we'll go ahead and assemble the salad right now. So we have all of our ingredients assembled. We have our chopped up iceberg lettuce and lacinato kale. We have our roasted crispy chickpeas. These are literally my favorite. They're a perfect snack. If you're not super into trail mix, you can just roast these chickpeas up and take them on the go. We have our creamy vegan dressing with that tahini base. And then we have our pickled shallots, which are honestly the showstopper in this whole salad. So we're gonna add maybe 1 to 2 spoonfuls of our dressing right onto our lettuce. This is my favorite salad dressing that I've ever made, so I like to add a lot of it. All right. And then a few of our crispy chickpeas right in that bowl. You can hear how crunchy they are, how delicious. They add so much spice to the salad. I love them so much. And then I'm gonna grab a fork quick to grab these shallots, because as much as I love vinegar, I swear I could just drink it like water. We don't really want a lot of that pickling liquid inside the salad. So you're just gonna wanna grab a few, sprinkle them around. Perfect. And this recipe was actually, I came up with it because I always order vegan kale Caesars whenever I go out to dinner. They're my favorite menu item, and we have a few amazing restaurants here in Sarasota that make great ones. So it's just kind of a combination of all of them together. And then I always top mine off with a little bit more of nutritional yeast. I'm just gonna sprinkle just a little bit more on top. And then I always like to toss my salads before they go into the bowl. It just makes everything easier for eating for dinner and everything like that. And as I said before, I like to pair this sometimes with some brown rice on the side, but this salad is perfect just as a meal as itself. Perfect. So we're all mixed in. Let's just put this on a beautiful white plate. This is a huge serving size. Honestly, I could crush this salad myself, but you can absolutely share this with someone that you love. I always like to top it again just with some more chickpeas right on top. Perfect. And then maybe a few shallots or so just right on top. Perfect. This is my favorite salad that I've ever made. Be sure to try the recipe and tell me how you like it. All right. Thank you so much for watching.